If, like me, you struggle with your weight, then stick around until the end of this video. Lumen, the world's first metabolic coach, has important insights tailor-made for you. Donald Trump is in bad straits. He's not in a good place right now. Every interview when he decides to campaign, which is rare, like this week, I think Joe Biden has like 3 events. He's not even running for president anymore. And he's got 3 campaign events. Donald Trump's got nothing on the schedule. All he's doing is going from weirdo podcaster to weirdo podcaster and streamer to do softball interviews where he's not going to be challenged, where he doesn't have to answer any tough questions whatsoever. And the latest in this long line of idiots that he went before is Lex Fridman, a guy I don't know, but I know a little bit about him. I know he claims he wants everybody to believe he was like an MIT student or was a professor at MIT or has some connection to MIT, when it's really like he took like a correspondence certificate course or something. It's like something all of us could do. He's not some robotics genius, the way I understand it. And he hosted Donald Trump just like he's hosted a bunch of other right-wing, alt-right pipeline kind of a situation here. And the interview he gave with Donald Trump, or that Donald Trump gave with him, is just exactly what you would expect, with just softball, no follow-ups, completely ignoring the damage to our democracy, the attempts to end democracy in the country. Just a circle jerk between these two individuals. And as I've said in the past, Donald Trump is it's very likely he's given his campaign staff and certainly his legal team fits, because I just talked about yesterday how we did the interview with Mark Levin over the weekend, where he admitted to interfering in a free and fair election. And in this interview, he said it was his right to do so. And in this interview with Lex Fridman, he says he lost the election by a whisper. Those two things combined offer major complications for Donald Trump with this new superseding indictment from Jack Smith. So watch these 2 clips, and also to attune your ear to Donald Trump's dentures being loose, or shush, the president and all the debates. He's like a kid with an ill-fitting retainer in his mouth. Watch this.
How do you think you'll do in the debate coming up? It's in a few days.
So I've done a lot of debating, only as a politician. I never debated. My first debate was the Rosie O'Donnell debate, right? The famous Rosie O'Donnell debate, the answer. But I've done well with debates. I mean, I became president. Then the second time I got millions more votes than I got the first time. So I was told if I got 63 million, which is what I got the first time, you would win. You can't not win. And I got millions of more votes than that, and lost by a whisker. And look what happened to the world with all of the wars and all of the problems.
So I've done a lot of debating. First was a politician.
Well, what's going on there? I mean, it's less important because I don't think this is particularly cognitive. It's something going on with the teeth in the mouth, fake teeth, fake, hairline, fake nose. The Trump family is more plastic than, Tupperware at this point. But it's interesting that he says, I was told if I got 63 million votes, I would win. Well, but if the other person gets 64 million, you don't win. That's not how elections work. You don't just have to reach a threshold. It's not the Electoral College that if you get to 270, you win. And he says that I lost by a whisker, admitting that he lost the election, which flies in stark juxtaposition to the thing he admitted in the interview over the weekend, where he said that he interfered because he had every right to. Remember this.
Whoever heard you get indicted for interfering with a presidential election where you have every right to do it?
All of this can be used against him in a court of law. All of this can be used by Jack Smith in prosecuting him. You don't get it both ways. To admit you knew you lost the election by a whisker, but you lost, and also you interfered in an attempt to overturn the results of the election that you just admitted you lost. That is criminal. That is fraud. That is a felony. That is attempting to end democracy in America. I mean, this is the worst of the interview. There was this other section that I want to talk about, and that is him talking about his crazy, unhinged, absolutely lacking reality perspective posts on Truth Social. He has advanced conspiracy theories from QAnon, people who have been labeled domestic terrorists, domestic violent extremists by the federal government. And he posts them all the time, retruths them, and says, well, I'm not going to check every single account to see whether they're dangerous or what their deal is. That's not his responsibility. I'm just going to put it out there and let my MAGA cult decide, I guess. It's just bananas. And then he rambles on about the internet and how you just put it out there and it goes everywhere. Like Truth Social is special. It's just the internet, bro. Anyway, watch this and we'll talk about some of the rambling. And by the way, I know you don't want to see his face. You don't want to hear his voice. Clip ahead. You can skip ahead through the timer that's on the clip. Watch this.
The Joe Rogan post is an example. I would love to get your psychology about behind the tweets and the posts on Truth. Are you sometimes being intentionally provocative, or are you just speaking your mind? And are there times where you regret some of the truths you've posted?
Yeah, I do. I mean, but not that often, honestly. I do a lot of reposting. The ones you get in trouble with are the reposts, because you find down deep they're into some group that you're not supposed to be reposting. You don't even know if those groups are good, bad, or indifferent. But the reposts are the ones that really get you in trouble. When you do your own words, it's sort of easier. But the reposts go very quickly. And if you're going to check every single little symbol, and I don't know, it's worked out pretty well for me. I tell you, it's truth is very powerful. Truth, and it's my platform, and it's been very powerful, very, very powerful. Goes everywhere. I call it my typewriter. That's actually my typewriter.
What are you doing usually when you're composing a truth? Like, are you chilling back on a couch?
Couches, beds.
Okay.
A lot of different things. I mean,
like late at night and just
I'd like to do some late at night. I'm not a huge sleeper, but whenever I do them, past like 3 o'clock, they criticize you the next day. Trump was up truthing. Okay. Trump was truthing at 3 o'clock in the morning. And there should be no problem with that. And then when you think about time zones, how do they know that you're like, in a time zone, like an Eastern zone? So, but every time I do it after like 2 or 3 o'clock, it's like, why is he doing that? But it's gotten, the truth has become a very successful platform. And I like doing it. And it goes everywhere. As soon as I do it, it goes everywhere.
It most assuredly has not worked out for you pretty well. You have been accused of spreading racism and violence and incitement to violence and trying to end democracy in the United States, dipshit. It hasn't ended well for you. This is the caliber of interview. Zero follow-up. The last clip that I want to share is just, it's too tasty not to. And that's him talking about, he's asked about the election fraud and how it's troubling for some people. And Donald Trump says, no. I don't focus on the past. I focus on the future. The guy who can't stop running his suck about 2020 and stop the steal and the election being stolen now says, oh no, I don't focus on the past. I only focus on the future. So I want you to hear his answer and then attune your ear to the thing that he starts talking about and whether that's something that happened in the past or whether it's the future and policy to make Americans' lives better.
So a lot of people believe that there was some shady stuff that went on with the election, whether it's media bias or big tech, but still the claim of widespread fraud is the thing that bothers people.
Well, I don't focus on the past. I focus on the future. I mean, I talk about how bad the economy is, how bad inflation is, how bad things like, which is important. Afghanistan was, in my opinion, the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to our country. And because of that, I think Putin went in. When he saw how stupid we were, Putin went in. but it was the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. I really believe that.
So the guy who focuses on the future, wink, wink, starts talking about Afghanistan, which is something that happened in the past. I mean, he's so focused on the past, he can't look forward to the future about making a better America, about making the lives of Americans easier, about fashioning policy that will accomplish those objectives. He's so focused on the past, including the election that he did lose. Joe Biden got 7+ million more votes. Donald Trump attempted a coup, attempted to overthrow the United States government to stay in power, to reverse the results of that election. He's all about the past. And as Kamala Harris says, and the campaign says, we're not going back. What do you think? I'd love to know. You can call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. If you want to support the work, click the join button, become a channel member. Go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast, or stick around for this very brief word from today's sponsor, Lumen. Anyone who has watched my videos for a while now will know that I struggle with my weight a little bit. From diets to workout regimens and apps filled with wisdom, I feel like I have sampled the spectrum of weight loss options. I think that I've made pretty great progress of late too, if I do say so myself. And no, not through some dubious miracle cure. I have been using Lumen to study my metabolism. Lumen has allowed me to better understand how effectively the foods I eat turn into the energy that keeps me going. But let's back up. What is Lumen anyway? Well, it's the world's first handheld metabolic coach. With just one breath in the morning, Lumen measures your metabolism. It lets you know if you're burning fat or carbs, and then recommends a personalized health plan to improve your nutrition, workout, sleep, and stress management. Take the next step in improving your health by going to lumen.me/Dollemore to receive 15% off of your purchase. That's lumen.me/Dollemore for 15% off your first order. Lumen is not just a weight loss tool. Your metabolism is basically your body's engine turning food or fuel into the power to run the machine that is you. Optimizing that engine can bring about several benefits. Yes, easier weight management, like I've been doing, plus also increased energy levels, enhanced fitness results, and improved sleep. Using your own real-time metabolic readings, Lumen will generate a plan to put you in the most optimal state for what you're doing. If you breathe into Lumen before you work out, Lumen can tell you whether or not you need to carb up, for instance. No more cookie cutter, one-size-fits-all nutritional strategies. Craft a healthier version of you with Lumen. Head to lumen.me/Dollemore to receive 15% off of your purchase. That's lumen.me/Dollemore for 15% off. Illuminate your metabolic health with Lumen.